I'm going to go back to my word intentional. With whether they like it or not, you have to do it. Especially if you want your relationship to have that comfortability. Is that a word? Comfortability? Well,
Well, let's make it a word.
okay, we'll make it a word. You need to have that in your relationship so that you can share all of those beautiful things that you want to share, and sometimes they're not so beautiful.
I am comfortable with being truthful, even if it's painful, and I'm comfortable with people being truthful with me, even if it's painful. But there were times early in our marriage when there were things that I wanted to communicate to you, and maybe I will say that my approach is to be brutally honest,
Mm-hmm.
and so sometimes my delivery, what I was saying was true, but maybe my delivery wasn't the best. So, why is that important? How will you teach couples or talk to couples about that?
Anytime a person feels attacked, their defenses come up. And so if you're going to be brutal or
I didn't
harsh,
say brutal. I said brutally honest.
it doesn't matter if it's
The,
not.
the,
It doesn't matter. A person won't hear your brutally honest statement if you don't say it in a kind way. Let me say, a person wants to be respected. It doesn't matter who they are, even a little kid. They want to be
okay,
respected, even
okay,
though they don't even know it. So I'm just saying, you got to be able to speak the truth in a loving manner so that they can receive it. If you don't do it that way, um, they don't receive it. So you've got to practice on that delivery. Once again, I'll go back to anytime you're dealing with another person, you've got to be intentional in your communication.
okay. So we talked about caring. We talked about being truthful. That's interesting. Kind of our different. No, I won't say different takes, but kind of I will say the differences in men and women and kind of how that plays out in a relationship.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I've heard men say often that my wife asked me this, but I didn't want to tell her this because, and I hate when men say this too, by the way, because I didn't want to get in trouble. But I think
Know
men
it. I
water
know it.
down.
I'm thinking you're
They
a grown
what
man. You don't
exactly.
what
I'm
get
not
in
afraid to
trouble.
get in trouble with you.
Exactly. I'm
So
like, walk into that.
okay, so there are a lot of things that I hear men say that irritates me, uh, in an effort to feign deferring to their wife. They say things like, I don't want to get in trouble, or here comes my wife. She's the boss. She runs everything around here. Or the only thing I run at our house is the vacuum cleaner. And, just what's the word I'm looking for? Stupid. That's the word I'm looking
Okay.
for. So, yeah, so I would say to men, your role is to be priest, prophet, provider, protector. So, as the priest of your home, you want to nurture, help your wife grow, help your children grow. And sometimes it requires really, really hard conversations. Early in our marriage, there'd be times when, and I don't even remember some of the discussions we'd have, but I know we'd be having a really, now again, this is, now we're 40 years married,
Yeah.
but in the beginning, we're trying to figure all this stuff out. And I can remember sometimes we're having conversations and you were crying.
Hmm.
Do you remember this?
I remember that just one time.
Well, I don't. Again, I don't remember how many times it was,
It
but
was one time. One
and
time.
I don't remember what we were talking about. But here's what I do remember. I'm putting this together with from talking to men. Most of the time when I talk to men and they're in a really hard conversation, their tone's not elevated. Everything's going right. So they're not doing anything wrong. It's just a hard conversation that's emotional and their wife starts crying. Most men I talk to at that point completely shut down.
Hmm.
Hey, I don't know. It's like something that I don't know. They learned in grade school. Hey, if a woman starts crying, I mean, I don't know.
You don't want your wife to
I
cry.
don't want.
However, I mean, she could be triggered by something else. You never know what's going on. You can stop and check in with her, sweetheart. Are you okay? Because we really do need to talk about this. This is important to our relationship. So, so you still have to do it, even if you have to interject a little bit or stop to get the emotions in order, in check. and then continue on. I don't want men, and I encourage men not to back down, because then you are feeling regretful or upset about something, so you're giving off energy that she doesn't want anyway, so you might as well address it.
And let's talk about the 2 things that we've covered already. We talked about caring. So one, I don't know at what point in our marriage, and maybe it was before we got married, that you believed that I deeply cared for you. I don't know how long that takes. I'm not talking about like boyfriend, girlfriend, the little superficial stuff.
Mhm.
But I mean, at some point we came to the understanding, at least I did, you really care for me. So now that I understand that, when you're sharing something with me, there have been times you've made me cry.